He is the founder of the Academy for Leadership. He is the CEO of NPRAT, and he is a reserve colonel in the IDF, fighting like so many others since October 7th. You might also recognize him from the award-winning documentary Revelation, The Shocking Truth About October 7th. And we have a link to that movie here related to this. But he is live right now fighting, and actually it's blurred behind him because we don't want to give away his location because it's not safe for him. And Aries, thank you for joining us. Tell me, what are people missing about what's going on, and what is happening today?
Thank you. We are fighting this time in Lebanon and in Gaza and in several more places. And I'll focus only in what my division is doing. We are in Jabalia. And you get an honest information what we are fighting against. Jabalia is the main center of terrorists of Nukhba, the biggest rapers, murderers of women, kids, babies are there. We are fighting in Gaza more than a year. And they are resisting, they are fighting back. You know, many times we have the illusion when we kill Sinwar and others that the war will end. We want it like a miracle, like a Hollywood movie. But the will of these terrorists in Gaza, in Lebanon, Houthis and Iranians, and in Syria and in Iraq, to take down the Western world, and on the way to take down in Israel, their will is so great that they are fighting and they do not stop. They are evil. They care no less for their ones that are killed. They care no less for women and children. It doesn't matter what, because they want to murder. We are fighting. We are fighting so chirurgic. We do anything in order not to get civilians. You know, there is a always open path, and you can see it. If New York Times doesn't hide the truth, and for some reason they do want to hide the truth and give false stories, anyone can go out south. They will get supplies. But they are holding their civilians violently because they have a mission to take down Israel, to take down the Western world. We are fighting. We are going to take down Jabalia. We are going to take down these terrorists. In Jabalia now, there are 600 murderers, all of them with blood on their hands, with women. Americans, some of them were American civilians. Some of the hostages are Americans.
Can I ask you, I want to interrupt you for 1 second to clarify one thing, because I can feel people in the audience wondering, you know, when you say that this is a group of people that's evil, that's a hard thing for Americans and other people around the world to understand. I learned in the movie Revelation when I came there that I did not know it was 3,000 civilians, men, women, and children that came out of Gaza and were the ones that raped and chopped up and kidnapped men, women, and children of all races and all religions from Israel. It was the civilians that did that part, not Nukba. Is that correct? And is that why you say that you're fighting against terrorists in these areas where people think that these are trapped civilians who are getting caught in the crossfire?
You know, I'm a son of a Holocaust survivor. The reason my father and his brother were survived the Holocaust, my grandparents did not, is because there was a Christian family in Paris that had hidden my father and his brother and risked their lives. There isn't one occasion in Gaza where a woman, young or old, protected a hostage. There isn't one occasion when someone had saved the life of innocent people. We as Western people, that we do believe in the good and freedom of human beings. We do believe that every human being is in the image of God. We can't get the idea of pure evilness of women, old and young, of teenagers. It's not only that anyone was radicalized on the daily. If we would get one time an information, I'm hiding an hostage, come and get him. And in the beginning they could, going on. Why? It's beyond our notice. But On the day of the 7th of October, I've been there. I was the first one on the beach of Zikim. I saw little kids, brothers and sisters, that they were slaughtered. But later on, because the Hamas terrorists, they were going further and further in Israel. And then thousands of civilians went into the kibbutzim, into Be'eri, raping from house to house, things that mustn't be said. I'll say it here. I came to the Nova Festival later on that day. I saw young women, like my students in the academies. They were tied to each other with metal barbed ropes, and they weren't even shot. They were still burning. They burned them, like in old times. Our mind said, wait, the world ended with medieval. No, but when the Western world of values loses its power, the whole human beings are returning back to kind of barbarian behavior. And you know, I do not blame them. I look at the mirror and say, what happened to us? What happened to us, Western people? Did we totally get confused that everything is about making money, more and more vacations, sex, rock and roll? Or there are values that our civilization is carrying? What was America when it was founded by Hamilton, Jefferson, Adams, Washington? When they called Washington Mount on Zion, what were their dreams of values of families, of people that in one hand want to succeed in order to move this world to be a better world, a safer, and to trust the process of good and changes? And on the other hand, to be strong in order to fight evilness. And you know, today the Western world and America as the leader is not doing their duty.
Yeah, let me ask you about that because we're almost out of time. But I want to say, of the facts that you mentioned about who came out and who did the raping and torturing and stuff, these are things that are disputed here in the United States, but are not in Israel and in the Middle East. I found when I went there, these are things that Hamas agrees upon and celebrates, and that Palestinian citizens agree upon and celebrate. But if you say it on a campus here in America, you will get canceled, or you are, condemned as being a liar. But where you are, everyone accepts these things as truths. The other thing that I found very surprising when I was making the film Revelation was that America it turns out, is doing a lot to help the other side, which also the Palestinian side, the Iranian side, the Russian side, which together have vowed to end the United States and our way of life. Again, this isn't a radical thing to say. This is something that everyone on both sides agrees. This is the mission. How do you see America and our leadership playing a role in this fight that isn't just against you, it's against us and our way of life and all of Western thinking? What kind of role are our leaders playing right now?
I ask myself, is it blindness? Is it corruption of Biden or Harris or Blinken? Do they not see the signs? Do they not see how North Korea is sending troops to Russia to fight Ukrainians? How the Iranians are giving ballistic missiles to Russia to attack Ukraine, and they're supporting them with drones? Do they not see a link between China and Russia, the dictators? We are a threat for them, because as long as their people see a democracy, they have a hope that one day they will achieve freedom. America was a nation that represented not only inner freedom, but the responsibility for others. What happened to your administration that lost everything? And the moment they surrender, imagine the Second World War. What would happen if America would stop in the middle of the attack on Japan and would say it's enough? The war would end, or there would be more suffer and casualties? I want to be gentle Is it only confusion, or it's something of ones that lost totally their values of justice, of courageous, of sacrificing, of what's the meaning of life? America and Israel have represented the Jews from 4,000 years. We represent the idea of freedom. America was the first empire in the history of humankind that had represented this idea of freedom. You have, I don't want to tell you what, I need you. I pray as an Israeli, I beg, America, return to the basic of your constitution. Return to what you were founded for. Understand, if God forbidden, you will let Blinken and Harris continue empowering these dictators, in the end it will come to your shores. It will come. It will threaten your freedom. Maybe you don't see it behind the corner, but it's on the way. It's very sophisticated. They won't stop. Dictators do not stop until they have the total power.
Yeah.
And you know, we won't stop fighting, because in Israel we understand it's that we are not only fighting for the state of the Jewish people, for the freedom of people. We are fighting for the freedom of humankind. We are fighting and we will sacrifice. And just on the last 36 hours, many of my friends were killed again.
Sorry about that.
And it's painful, but we will sacrifice until the Western world will wake. But if not, the world is going to go down like in medievals. It's in your hand. It's your responsibility to wake yourself up for the sake of history and freedom and values.
Aries, we're going to let you get back to fighting. Thank you so much for doing this. Please stay safe. And anyone out there watching, if you doubt or don't believe any of the things that were said here, please watch the movie Revelation, where I present evidence for everything that Aries said, and none of it is in dispute. As I said before, in the Middle East, Hamas, Palestine, no one would dispute the facts we said here. Only Americans that have not woken up to the truth. Thank you for joining us. I'm Melissa Francis.
Melissa, I'll allow myself. I want your audience to be as courageous as you were. You came for 5-6 days. But if any one of your friends will come for 24 hours to witness with his eyes, not movies, the movie will motivate them. Arrange a group, come. There will be the ones that will take you. You will see it with your eyes. You will understand our generation has a responsibility to restart the values of democracy, of freedom, of believing that human beings are in the image of God. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
No, it's true. My friend Lila Wasserman took me, and I did not believe. It was difficult to believe the things that I learned and saw, but it definitely changed my mind and opened my eyes. So you're right. More people should go. Aries, thank you for joining us. Please stay safe. And thank you everyone out there for watching.